YNW Melly been sitting inside a jail for 6 years, facing a double homicide murder from his friends. Come to find out, they pushing this court date back. He gonna be in jail for 8 years before this trial start. His last trial was like in a hung jury. A lot of people forget it's another person was charged with this double homicide too, YNW Bortlan. He had court today. You know, they offered him a plea deal of 16 years to snitch on Melly. Basically 16 years, but they gonna use this plea deal against Melly to prove that he knew exactly what was going on and that he was a killer and he did what he did. But they offered him 16 years. You know, the judge even doubled back on it, tried to scare him. He used a scare tactic. Told him, we don't give you time to think about this. But, you know, a lot of people come back in my courtroom later on, act like they didn't hear it right. They don't know what's going on. I want you to understand this now. If you don't take this deal, you're going to be in prison and you're not going to come home. And this, and, you know, try to use that scare tactic. These guys are saying they innocent. Even though a lot of people say they not innocent. You know, police say they killed 2 of their friends inside of a car. And they covering it up. They say really Melly did it and Bortlan just helping them cover it up. Check out this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. But they used the scare tactic to try to get him to snitch. Basically accept the plea agreement. But that plea agreement was going to be used to convict Melly at this court date. Because Melly ain't taking no plea agreements. Or at least we haven't seen them yet.
Some possible penalties are as follows. It's life in Florida State Prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State Prison. Do you understand the charges and the maximum possible penalties involved? Okay. So, Mr. Henry, the state is telling me that they're extending an offer to you, and the offer is as follows. In case number 19-1871 CF10A, they're going to null process or drop counts 1 and 2, both first-degree murder charges. Okay. And in exchange for that, as to counts 3 and 4, in that case, the accessory after the fact to murder in the first degree, you're going to plead no contest to both of those. And as to the 4 counts in case number 23-10643 CF10A, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 of those counts. And in exchange for all of that, the state is offering that I would adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to the bottom of your sentencing guidelines, which is 195.45 months, about 16, it's a shade over 16 years and 3 months, 16 years and 3 months. All of those sentences will run concurrently, that is at the same time with each other. I would give you credit for all the time that you have served, understanding that you have a lot less credit time on the 23 case because it's a newer case. So that is what would be controlling. Whatever credit time you have on the 23 case, you can subtract that from the 100
I think he actually has more time on the 23 case than the 19 case at home.
Oh, okay. Well, whichever case you have more time, less time in custody, that's what would happen. And you get the credit for all the time that you've served. And again, that sentence would be 16 years, a shade over 16 years, 3 months in Florida State Prison. I would have to order restitution. The state would tell me the amount of that restitution. That restitution would be joint and several with any of your other co-defendants. If any of the other co-defendants were convicted at trial or entered pleas. In other words, the restitution only has to be paid once, but each person is responsible for 100% of it. All right, but as soon as it's paid, it's paid. I would have to impose mandatory court costs in each case, and I would have to impose a mandatory cost of prosecution in each case, which is $100. So, Mr. Henry, do you understand the offer that the state is making to you? Okay, the 16 years, 3 months, and a shade more. So I'm going to pause on it at this point, Mr. Henry. It's going to give you some time, whether that be tonight or also over the weekend, to talk to your lawyers about it. Make sure they answer all your questions, talk to your family about it so you can make a decision as to what you want to do. Now, let me explain this to you, sir. I can't make the state make you an offer, and I can't make you accept any offer. I'm just the referee, okay? This is a business decision between you, your lawyers, and the state. And if you want to accept it and resolve both cases that way, that's fine with me. And if you want to have a trial in both cases, that's fine with me too. It doesn't matter to me in any way, shape, or form. But whether it be tomorrow when I see you tomorrow, and then Ms. Wilcox, she already has tomorrow at 9 o'clock, that'll remain on. But I'll put them on both cases as well next Tuesday, which is September the 9th. Let's just call it 1:30 in the afternoon. September the 9th at 1:30 in the afternoon, we'll call it trial status in both cases. That's when we're gonna have to finish this conversation, Mr. Henry, and you're gonna have to tell me that either that you understand the offer that the state's making, that your lawyers have answered your questions about it, and then you're gonna have to tell me what your decision is, whether you want to accept the offer or whether you want to reject the offer. Mr. Henry, the one additional thing that I like to talk to people who are sitting in this situation that you're sitting in right now and have this conversation is as follows. The reason that I'm doing this is because I want the record to be clear what the state's offer was, and the record to be clear that you understood it and that you had enough time to talk to your lawyers about it. You had enough time to talk to your family about it. You weren't under any pressure to make a decision, whatever you thought was in your best interest. Because it goes kind of like this, and I'm sure your lawyers can speak to it better than I can. If you accept the state's offer, that's fine. And again, if you don't accept it, that's fine too. But if you don't accept it, and one of these trials doesn't go your way, and you end up with life in Florida State Prison, which is a mandatory sentence on a lot of these counts. Usually people in that situation, then they'll file what's called a motion for post-conviction relief, and they'll say, hey Judge, my lawyer never told me, I didn't know that I could resolve all this for 16 years and 3 months, and if they would have told me that, I would have done it. And now I'm sitting here with a life sentence. So that's the reason I'm having this conversation now, so the record's going to be crystal clear on that issue. If it doesn't go your way, that argument's not going to be available to you to come back and say, hey, my lawyers didn't tell me about this, or I didn't know about this, so that's why I'm talking to you about it now. So, Mr. Henry, do you have any questions for me about the maximum possible penalties involved or what the state's offer is to you as we're talking about it right now? Okay. All right, so I'm going to pause on that part of the conversation, and we'll finish that other part of the conversation either tomorrow or next Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to leave you on for tomorrow, all pending motions.